Hey everyone, Robyn Openshaw here. I have a website called takeactionforfreedom.com, and every Wednesday night I run a class for people who are looking at Bitcoin. They are learning about how the governments of the world's fiat currencies, fiat being it's money because the government says so, are failing, inflation going through the roof. What does this mean for our savings? We aren't getting the interest we need, whether it's in a savings account or even in government bonds, to compensate for how fast our money is losing value. So I thought I'd let you look at the beautiful Atlantic Ocean rather than me for once. But I want to talk to you about what it means that Bitcoin is in the 80,000s right now. So as I talk to you, it's, what's today? Saturday, March 1st, I think. Happy March. And Bitcoin's at about 85,000. Now, it hasn't been that low for like 3 months. After the Trump election, it went on a tear. People were euphoric. They were hopeful that the tanking of our economy that we had been watching for 4 years was going to turn around. The euphoria continued past the inauguration. Trump has signed hundreds of executive orders that a majority of Americans really like. Well, this tariffs thing has a lot of people shaken. The stock market's taken a hit, and Bitcoin's down. So what does this mean? Bitcoin's at 85,000. Well, what it means is it's on sale. Bitcoin is on sale, and it may be a good buying opportunity. Okay, I was buying at 100,000. I had no idea whether we would ever see it come down into the 80s, but in this past week, I have bought $85,000 more worth of Bitcoin. So I recommend always having some dry gunpowder so that you can buy some when you're ready. Even if you haven't bought any Bitcoin yet, you're just learning about it, which I did too. I have spent a couple thousand hours learning about it because when I first went in, my first tranche of Bitcoin in March of 2020, it was $8,000. And of course, looking back, I wish that I would have literally taken money out of my house, mortgaged my house, which was paid off, and bought Bitcoin. Of course, I wish that. But at the time, the level of conviction I had, that was the appropriate amount for me to invest, is my first 50,000. So anyway, since then I've spent a few more $1 million, and my Bitcoin, even with it down now, is worth more than double what I paid on average. So it's been a really great investment for me. It's the best performing asset in BlackRock's history. So BlackRock, that has more assets under management than anybody, I think, in the world. Larry Fink used to make fun of Bitcoin, and then when he got into Bitcoin, he now openly says this is our best performing asset, and he's now a pro Bitcoiner. I mean, he knows it's like a certain segment of the economy. It tends to be the political conservatives, the people who are worried that the government can't keep all this propped up with our, what are we, $37 trillion in debt. Like, nobody even knows what that means. Our Congress doesn't sit around thinking about how much money 37 trillion dollars is. So Bitcoin's on sale right now at 85,000. Could it go lower? It has. One guy that I listen to thinks that it could go as low as 73,000, but we don't know that. And so if we knew that, if we had a crystal ball, obviously all of us would have been rich a long time ago, and we would be retired sitting on a beach. Oh wait, I am retired sitting on a beach, except I actually really like working, so haven't exactly retired. But I do have this good life, which is backed by Bitcoin. I have an alternative to health insurance that is backed by Bitcoin. Go to Crowd Health and check them out. The company is backed by Bitcoin. They're now 10,000 plus members strong. The people who sign up for it, where what you pay every month is literally crowdfunding other people's healthcare needs. I've been in it since last year. I haven't had any reason to use it. That's the goal, right? Is that I'm always giving and I'm never using it, right? Who wants to have health problems and have to make claims? But they've paid like 99.9% of their claims. The tiny number they haven't paid, they had some very good reasons for, which they have explained to me. But I love it. I love that it's Bitcoin backed. Any company whose treasury is backed by Bitcoin, I'm a fan of, because they're in an appreciating asset, whereas all the other companies are backed by dollars. And they're kind of up against the wall like the average American is, in that their dollar is worth less. So with Bitcoin in the 80,000s, I think it's a really cool opportunity, because remember, it's been as high as 108,000. In that big euphoric run up, it was as high as 108,000. So don't get involved in Bitcoin if you haven't decided in advance to live with the volatility of it. Don't get involved in Bitcoin out of FOMO. And when it hits a new all-time high, let's say it hits 110,000 in March, that, you know, if you buy it, then you could wait. It'll probably come down again. It's gone up, down, up, down, up, down for 16 years now. So you could wait. You need to get like a Coinbase or a Kraken or a Gemini or an Uphold account. Get two of them. Have two crypto exchanges. Have them all set up to the bank account of your choice. I recommend you not hook them up to your primary bank account, but maybe like a private bank or a credit union. Because some of the big banks, at least back in the day, like 3 years ago, they would give people crap about buying cryptocurrency on the exchanges. But I've never had either of my credit unions ever give me a hard time. I mean, their fraud department will call me if I'm sending over six figures. They'll call me, but you kind of want their fraud department to be making sure there's no fraud going on. That's fine. I like when their fraud department calls me. But anyways, you want to be set up, even if you're thinking about buying some Bitcoin, why not get yourself set up with a crypto.com or coinbase.com or uphold.com. Get set up on the exchange. Okay, they put you through KYC, which is you have to take a picture of your face, like they are surveilling you. Yes, they are. Okay, Bitcoin is not a way to avoid paying taxes. You'll get, as of 2025, they have to send you basically the equivalent of a 1099. So at the end of the year, the IRS is going to know if you made money or lost money. Oh, I want to tell you guys something really interesting. So Swan Bitcoin, I do not profit if you go to Swan Bitcoin, but I have done a deep dive with 5 different custodial companies. And, you know, right now I'm not giving any more of my Bitcoin to any of these custodial companies. I'm checking them out. I'm watching and waiting. The Trump family says they're now going to get in the business of custodying people's Bitcoin and lending them in dollars against it. I think that's a brilliant idea. Custody our Bitcoin, because custodying ourselves has its own risks, right? Somebody could break into your house, get your seed phrases or stuff like that. Trump family says they're going to get in the business of lending Bitcoin. Citadel this last week said they're going to get in that business of creating liquidity for people with Bitcoin as collateral. Our Commerce Secretary, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who's also the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, he says they're going to get in the business of custodying your Bitcoin and lending against it. So a year from now, the landscape's going to be really interesting and you're going to have a lot more options. So right now, Swan Bitcoin has about 10% of my Bitcoin. And I'm just having my experience with them. But something really cool happened this week where my guy at Swan Bitcoin called me, and I know and trust him. So I took his call, even though it was in the middle of my workday. And he said, Robyn, you know how you paid like 100,000? You might have even paid 102,000 for some of your Bitcoin. I said, yep. He said, I got a play for you. He said, we could sell it now that it's down in the 80s. By the way, in the past week, you guys, it dipped below 80 for a minute. It was in the middle of the night, it dipped below 80. So he had me move my Bitcoin that they're holding, which is, I don't know, like 14 Bitcoin or something like that, out of the vault. where unfortunately it has to sit for 3 days. That's part of how they protect against fraud and you making a bad decision is you have 3 days to consider it, talk to people before you make the trade. But today is now 3 days. There was something I could have done that I could have gotten it out of the vault and used 2 of my 3 keys to be able to do this trade. And I wish I did, honestly, but I would have had to go to my other house. It's like an hour away to have both of them. Anyways, who cares? I didn't do it, so I decided to wait out the 3 days. And as of today, they can sell it. I'm going to sell all my Bitcoin that they're holding, and they say they have to do it in batches because there's probably not necessarily right at the second that we want to sell somebody out there who wants to buy my 14 Bitcoin. Might be. So he's going to sell my Bitcoin and then he's going to buy it right back. And I said, okay, but you got to buy it right back. Well, what the advantage of this is that I will then have a $200,000 loss to take against my capital gains. All right. And I said to him, does it have to be in this calendar year? And he said, nope, it could literally be in the last 10 years. And I said, well, that's cool because last year, a few months ago, I sold all my XLM when it was 5x what I paid for it. I sold all my XRP that was up, I don't know, 60% more than I paid for it. I don't like XRP. I'm going to talk about it on another video. I've been told not to. I've been told that it's such a cult and the XRP army will come after me. And I'm like, so what? Let's tell the people the truth. I've been uncomfortable with XRP since shortly after I bought it, but it was March 2020 when I bought it and I knew very little about crypto and there was no learning path. So I was just trying to find mentors. I was trying to find information on YouTube where most of the people giving me information were like 30-year-olds who've never lost their shirt in some market before, right? Anyway, this play that we're doing where I'm going to get a $200,000 capital loss is totally legal, even though if you did it with stocks, it would be illegal. But because Bitcoin is regulated as a commodity, I can sell it, take the $200,000 loss, which I can subtract from the gains on my XLM, XRP, and I also sold almost all of my Ethereum. So I sold all those last year and I made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now this $200,000 loss is going to defray that. So that's really going to help me tax wise. So this thing is going to be in play today. It's actually been in play for 3 days, but we're doing this whole thing. Swan Bitcoin benefits in all this because they get like 1%. So they're going to make about 15,000 bucks. So I will lose that amount, but I will gain so much more than that in tax write-off strategy. So anyway, thought you might be interested in that. Might not apply to you, but kind of gives you something to think about that your Bitcoin is being custodied by one of these firms like Swan Bitcoin. If you have 6 figures with them, you've got a guy that you can text with. He can make concierge trades for you. And he's going to call you up and tell you something like this that's going to help me write $200,000 off as a loss against my capital gains on other assets. So I'm kind of glad so far that I had Swan Bitcoin custody about 14 Bitcoin for me. All the other stuff that I have in like cold storage, I have in other places, in other wallets, I couldn't have done this with because I didn't pay $100,000 for it. Right. So it's just the latest tranche of Bitcoin that I bought, sold all my gold, sold well over $1 million worth of gold, put it all in Bitcoin. Pretty cool that by selling it, even though I'm about to rebuy it again immediately, I get to take the tax write-off. So wanted to share that strategy. And I wanted to tell you that when Bitcoin is in the 80,000s, for all we know, it could go down from here, could go down to below 80, could go to in the 70s. We don't know. That kind of stuff happened in my first 4 years in Bitcoin. I watched it all. I watched it soar. I watched it crash. You have to, if you're going to participate, you have to know that's going to happen. But you know what else it could do? It could take off from here. Countries start buying. I mean, Zuckerberg has said he has $1 billion of it there that's going on the asset of Meta His two goats are named Max and Bitcoin. As countries and public companies and pension funds and nation states and cities and counties are talking about getting some Bitcoin on their balance sheet, if that drives the price up, which it does, it should. These are just basic laws of finance and economics. You just hold yours. So it could go down from here, but it could also tear up. It could tear up all the way to 140,000. And then you're never going to see this chance again. You're probably never going to see it in the 80,000s again. So could go either way, but obviously I'm betting on it going way up because I bought a whole bunch more this week in the 80,000s. So hope this was helpful to you. I like to do short videos, tell you what the recent goings on are in Bitcoin. There's lots more, but I thought I'd keep it short, and hope you enjoy our beautiful Atlantic Ocean in Palm Coast today. See you next time, everyone.